I didn't wanna bother the nurse, so I was, like, pushing the button. But the first night was chaos, and I was like, "How long am I gonna be here?" Obviously,
Mm.
you don't know. You just don't know. They told me, "This is your home now. You're not leaving until you give birth."
Hello, and welcome to the Twin Mom Life Podcast. I'm your host, Jess. I created this podcast to help build community, connection, and most importantly, friendships among moms of multiples. Being a twin mom can be amazing and magical. That twin bond is unlike anything I've ever witnessed. But it can also be isolating and overwhelming. I'll be chatting with other twin moms, diving deep into the twin experience, giving advice on what works for us so you don't have to learn the hard way. Juggling two babies at the same time is challenging, but I'm confident we can learn from each other and figure out how to raise these babies together. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you today. How are you, Steph?
I'm so good, Jess. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm good. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So I'm Steph. I'm a twin boy mom of identical boys. Similar to Jess's pregnancy, they were in a fraternal anatomy setup. So own placentas, own sex. I think that's called die.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So die, but identical. I recently just moved from Indianapolis in August to Central Oregon. So we're here now and just adjusting to just us and being a stay-at-home mom and leaving a whole career behind and family and friends has been a big adjustment, but I am a big advocate to get the boys out every day. I preach that because it's hard when you have no one. Mentally, it's exhausting, emotionally, and you just don't realize it till you literally don't know anybody at all and can't really call
Mm-hmm.
anyone. But a little bit about me, before I became a mom, I went to school at Purdue and I did cybersecurity engineering for almost a decade.
Wow.
And I still mentor those in cybersecurity. I'm very passionate about technology, and obviously I tell the boys all about it. Um,
I love it.
yeah. And I have 3 cats, a dog, and I have been married to my great husband, Vera.
Oh, that's awesome.
3 years is our anniversary this Sunday.
Oh my goodness, happy anniversary. That's
Thank
exciting.
you.
Do you guys
Yeah.
have any like fun plans to celebrate?
Any fun plan consists of putting the boys in our hiking backpack and just going hiking because there's so much to see and so much to do. Also, I wanted to tell you, thanks for shouting out the Etsy account that you have bought your shirt from
Oh
because
yeah.
I have the same twin Wrangling. Wait, what is it?
Yeah, like twin Wrangler
Tin
mama or something.
Yeah, yeah, it's so cute with the little boots.
Mhm.
And I'll have to show you pictures. I did a photo shoot with the boys with the shirt on and they had little overalls. It was so cute.
That sounds so precious.
I
Oh,
know,
that's
and I was like,
so
"I
cute.
love the shirt," like, the material, I was like, "So thank you for putting that out there."
Yes, okay, so it's a twin mom who does it. Her name is Estelle, and she lives in Australia. Like, I'll have to tag her in the show notes because
Yeah.
I feel like all of her styles are just, like, very cute, and it's, like, the graphic tee that's, like you said, like, super comfortable, and I like that it looks, like, worn. What's
Yes, like
that?
distressed.
Yes, thank you. I'm like, "What's that
Yep.
word?" It looks like distressed, like, it looks lived in, but it's really good quality, and yeah, the designs are super cute. So, I have another shirt from her that says, "We'll yap about twins."
Oh, I love that one. Yes.
It's perfect, yeah.
Don't you have the one that says, "Yes, my hands are full"?
Yes, that's from a different,
Oh, okay.
I know, I have so much twin mama gear. I have, like
I love it.
I'll have to tag all the shops, but the latest one that I've been using is Beach Mountain Designs, I think.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Shout out to Beach Mountain Designs. I
Yeah,
love it.
she's awesome. She'll love this. Like, I think we connected on Facebook too because she
Oh,
posted about her, shop, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cute." And then when we were messaging, I was like, "I'm assuming, like, you're a twin mom if you are doing, like, twin mom,
yeah.
merch." And she's like, "Yeah, I live in Australia." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's so fun." So, just like
So cool. It's like, "Can we meet you in Australia?"
yeah, yeah. So it's fun. And
Aw.
it's always really fun for me to hear people, like, passionate about something, and then they, like, make a business out of it. So I'm like, "How
Yes.
cool." She's like
Mhm.
yeah, it's just really neat. So, well, that
Yeah.
was a little side note, but okay, I have to see those pictures of you guys with
Yes,
your
I'll
shirt
show
on
you.
and them with their overalls on. That sounds
Yeah.
so cute. Okay, so can you tell me how you filled your cup today or if you have plans to do so? I know we're talking kind of late, so did you fill
Yeah,
your
no
cup
worries.
today?
Yeah, it's 6 p.m. I filled my cup. I knew you were gonna ask this because I'm a big listener of the podcast, and I was like, "What do I say?" Honestly, I just walked my dog during their nap for probably 10 minutes, and obviously I don't go far, but that just felt good to get fresh air without the kids, so that's how I filled
Mhm.
my cup.
I love
And then
that.
I might do some Pilates after this. I'm still deciding.
Ooh, that's fun. Like, will you do Pilates at your house, like, watch a video or something?
Yeah, I have a reformer, and I love watching videos on YouTube. I think it's the best way to learn anything, just digital. And I took classes when I was in Indy for years, but they were not lying that the West Coast is so expensive. I mean, these classes are outrageous, and you probably know that where you're at too, so I think I've had enough classes to know to just keep up with it.
Sure. Well, and that's awesome that you have a reformer. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, my
That's
husband got it for my first Mother's Day.
oh my gosh, that's such a sweet gift.
It
Aw.
was so
Like,
sweet, and the boys basically have grown up with me on it.
that's awesome. I'm like, hint, hint.
I know.
Yeah, I need to do stuff like that more because I feel like so I go to a yoga studio, so it's mat Pilates.
So
Like,
fun.
where we are is
Yes.
kind of, like, rural, so to go to a place that actually has, like, a studio with reformers is, like, at least 30 minutes away. So, our local yoga studio has mat Pilates, which is still fun. Not as fun as using a reformer, though, like, using a
Mhm.
reformer is so fun. And, yeah, I'm like, I need to look into how much reformers are because I want
Yes, you
one.
should. I think you can do it, and a lot of the yoga movements that you do and even on the mat transferred to the reformer. I don't know if you ever seen the videos where they do side by side of the workouts and how you can do them on a mat, how you can do them on a reformer, but it's pretty nice, and I used to love hot Pilates on the mat, so I'm glad I'm glad that you do that. And how did you fill your cup?
I will tell you, I feel like I'm in a little bit of a season where I need to be doing a better job at that. I'm trying to think. Okay, so I was telling you like offline that my boys were just sick. So like my son Waylon got sick and then gave it to my son Wyatt. So I feel like
Mm,
they have been sick for like combined a little over a week. So that's been a little tiring, and I'm still not answering how I filled my cup today because I guess I haven't. But you know what? Talking with you and having like some space like tonight, I'm not doing bed and bath time because my husband is doing that. So
yeah.
that's nice to have a little bit of a break from that. And
Mhm.
chatting with twin moms always fills my cup. And I really need to take, like, a good shower, like, I was joking, like, I'm wearing a hat because
Yeah.
my hair is really greasy, so maybe I'll just take, like, a really nice, relaxing shower
You need
after
a
our
everything
fun
shower.
chat. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
Is
love
this
it
is
too.
this in your house, can I ask, the studio? Because it looks so
So,
good.
oh, you're so sweet. Okay, no, this is okay, so this is I'm like, how do I explain it? We've always called it the building, which is so funny because everyone else is like, it's like a shed. So it is kind of a big shed though. So my husband is a musician. And when we bought our
Mm.
house, we had this built to be like a practice space for him. He plays the bass and is in a band and he can get really loud.
Oh my
So
gosh, so fun.
it's fun, but I have to explain to everybody, this has like we built it with no windows so that it could be soundproofed. So when people come in, I'm like, it's a lot. And his band is like a Christian metal band, and
Oh,
it's a like
wow.
it's really fun. but, like, a different genre, and
Yeah.
everything in here is black. So, like, you'll see, like, the walls are
That's so
black,
funny.
and
I'm in the gym and it's black, so we're,
yeah,
like, both it's
we have that vibe, that's our vibe
same
tonight.
aesthetic.
So,
Yeah, that's so cool.
I added, a plant
I love
and
the
a
plant.
candle and, like, a nice pillow to, like,
Aw.
make it not as dark. But,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm not in the house, but I'm right outside, like, it's in our backyard, so but it's
Oh,
turned
that's
into,
amazing.
like, yeah, I told him, I'm like, "Can I have, like, a corner of your studio to be, like, my podcast studio?" So we have, like in here, it's like a multi-purpose space. I'm, like, looking around. It's like, I'm looking at a drum set, I'm looking at all of his spaces. He works over there, he's got a gym set up over there.
Oh
So
my
and
gosh.
then my little
That's so
podcast space.
fun. Your little corner. Oh. Well,
Yes.
I love that that's how you fill your cup too, because I rarely meet twin moms, and it's hard to meet new friends as moms,
Yeah.
especially when you move somewhere, and so I guess we're both filling our cup like this, so I love that for us.
Yes, well, and it's always fun, like, we connected online. I think it was initially Facebook and then Instagram, so I feel like it's always so fun when I get to, like, actually talk to someone other than just, like, sending messages, which is nice, but being able to, like, actually chat and, like, get into the nitty-gritty, like, I love it. I
Yeah.
love to dive in and, like, actually be able to chat, so
Mhm.
so, I know you have twin boys and same, so I love that we're in, like, the twin boy club. So, can you tell us about your pregnancy and getting pregnant and all that stuff?
Yeah, so I think I said this offline. Originally, I didn't plan for kids or to get married, and I think the reason why I felt like that is because I felt I just didn't have the right partner, and for a long time, my parents were like, "Oh, when are you gonna have kids?" Always pressuring you, "When are you gonna have kids?" And I had a really good career. I was traveling the world and I was super selfish. And that's okay to just not want anything but time for yourself and
Mhm.
to have your own money. But now I look at things completely different, like a 360. It's like, how could I live without being a wife to a great man and having kids? And it's like now I found my purpose. And it's like God has blessed me with these babies and right when I became pregnant, so we were visiting friends in Tampa, Florida, me and my husband from Indiana, so we drove, and I felt horrible. I was late on my period, I was super nauseous, leaving their house. So, I just started a new job as well, and it was remote. I've been working remote since before COVID, and so we left Tampa. We're in, like, the middle of nowhere in Florida, like, the outskirts, like, the very swampy area, and I was not feeling well, so I said, "Let's just go get a pregnancy." Well, actually, my husband was like, "We need to go get a pregnancy test, you're late." And I was like, "I'm not pregnant, there's no way, I'm not pregnant." And I think similar to a lot of twin moms, you feel the symptoms very early.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know that you're nauseous and your HCG levels and everything is just very high and doubled, and I didn't wanna eat, so we found out basically, I'm gonna sum it up, we found out that we were pregnant in a gas station. Not romantic at all,
I was gonna say, like, so romantic.
and I didn't believe it because I'm like, "This little dingy little gas station and with this
Sure.
test, I don't know if it's true." And so we drove home. Right when we arrived home, I think I bought like 10 tests. I've never bought tests like that in my whole life. And so just the fact that I'm doing that was like insane, mind-blowing. And I always think about my emotions were like all over the place and obviously thought we were having one baby till we go to our appointment, and it was our 6-week appointment, and we did the stomach ultrasound, and I've never seen an ultrasound, so I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "I don't see okay, cool, there's the baby, cool." And she's like, "Yeah, you're pregnant," And I'm just looking at the screen and I'm just like, "Is she done? Like, why is she looking so long? She's not saying anything." We also couldn't record. I love that you have so many people that are on the podcast and they record it and they share it and you got your reaction. And I look back and I'm like, "Oh, I wish we had that so bad," because you just that moment is just so special. So, then she did the vaginal ultrasound because she felt like she wanted to. She didn't say a reason. She said, "Because you're early," something like
Mhm.
that. This is not a great hospital, by the way. I did not like this hospital in Indiana. So, we're there and she's doing the vaginal and she's like, "Well, I'm glad we did this because you have 2." And I could not I didn't cry, I didn't react. I was like, "Okay." And I just looked at my husband. He was like, "Oh, that's cool." And
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, "Is she" it's kind of sketch. We're like, "Is she right? Is" I said, "Are you sure?" And she was like, "Yeah, you have 2." So, obviously, life changed after that. I was telling Jess offline, it's a 0.01% chance of having twins within our ethnicities. Me and my husband are the same ethnicities. We're Southeast Asian. And it became a little scary because every time they saw us, it was like, "Yeah, you're high risk, but you're also very high risk because we haven't had much research or studies on this." And I was like, "Why do we need to have research or studies on babies? Like, just have them." I don't know. I didn't understand why we needed to bring the medical, like all this stuff. And so I was the opposite of you when you soaked in every resource about twins. I didn't. And I didn't do that because I didn't want to scare myself.
Mm.
I didn't even tell anyone till first trimester was I mean, I couldn't even eat. I could oh yeah, pregnancy. Pregnancy was not fun. And I don't think it is fun for anyone. I mean, props to the women that go through it and just breeze and don't even feel like they're pregnant. That's good for you. It's amazing. But I think that everyone's body is different, and that's what a lot of people need to, like, understand that not everyone's pregnancy is gonna be the same. I was super nauseous all the time. I had food aversions. I didn't eat a lot. I ate White Castle. Do you know what White Castle is?
Yeah. My my father-in-law loves White Castle.
Do you guys have one there?
No, we don't have 'em out
Okay.
here, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I miss it. We don't have it here. I had White Castle all the time, and that was, like, my saving grace and Taco Bell, but food aversions were high. I wasn't really worried about having twins till we took a class maybe 2nd or 3rd trimester online with the hospital, just, like, CPR, latching, like, all the mom 101 class things we signed up,
Mhm.
parenting, and the lady in the class was like, "Oh, the mom that's in here that has twins, let me look this up for you because 'cause I'm not sure." And I was like, "Oh, I'm, like, excluded." I'm like,
Oh.
"What?" I'm like, "Well, wouldn't I just have to do it twice?" Like, she's mentioning things, and she's like, "Well, we don't know how you're gonna give birth, and with twins, it's more complicated because you'll be in the OR room, just like you, and, everything is gonna be different. You can't have a water birth, you can't have this."
Mm.
And from all the doctors telling you so much, I'm a very easygoing person, so I was like, "Whatever happens, happens." They're telling me baby A might have to be vaginal, baby B might have to be C-section, so I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it, whatever." And they're like, "You're so good." Like, I'm like, "Well, what am I gonna do? I can't I can't just give birth how you really wanna give birth." And so I think I was 29 weeks, and it was October of 2024. And it's funny because I have to share it with you and you can share this, but I made like a trendy TikTok audio, and the TikTok audio was like, "Come on, show them how crazy you are." And it's like, oh, when you're trying to show someone that they're moving, but they're not because you're recording. So I made that video. And I'm like, "Come on, show them how crazy you are." And I was just like, "Oh, let me just post it." And I stopped and my water broke.
Stop.
Yeah. And hold on, I'm missing the main piece is where my husband was working at home, and he was like, "Don't do anything. Like, don't move any furniture, just rest." He always told me to rest, and I'm also hard-headed, and I was like, "I'm not just gonna sit here and rest. I'm so bored. I'm so big. I'm not eating." I was working out at the time, so I was like, "I can lift weights and, like, do all that and walk," and I mean, I didn't get any medical advice to not do anything, as I should be. I didn't have preeclampsia, I didn't have high blood pressure. I was totally fine till that happened, and I was moving a whole fridge and a desk.
No, you were
Yeah,
not.
I know, I
Stop.
and it's big. I mean, it's a heavy mini fridge, and I was prepping our room because I was like, "Okay, when the twins are here and I need to put the milk in the fridge," and we made our standing.
Did you put a mini fridge in your room?
Yeah.
Brilliant. I've heard another twin mom say that, and I was like, "That is so smart for, like, middle of the night
Had
feeds."
a small house, but it still helped.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's so smart.
And then this probably wasn't safe, but we had a standing desk, and that was their changing table because we could adjust the height. My
Mm.
husband's 6 feet up, I'm 5'5", we're tall, and like, we're big on, like, body and how you're moving, and if you're straining in some type of way, you shouldn't be. So we did that, and we just, like, adjusted the room, so anyway, that happened, and then I made that video, and then we had to go to the hospital. Well, I called the nurse hotline, and I was like, "I think I'm peeing on myself or my water broke, I don't know."
So it was like a dramatic, like, pop, like, water
It was like
burst.
like you're peeing on yourself, and like, I was leaking, like, spotting before that, so this amount of gush was abnormal. I was like, "Oh my
Sure.
goodness."
You're like, you can feel it. You're like, "Oh, I peed a little bit," or like, "Oh,
Yeah.
shoot,
It's
this is my
clear
water breaking."
it's clear, and it didn't smell like pee, so so we got in the car, and my husband was freaking out. I think most men usually do in these circumstances, and I wasn't freaked out at all. I was like, "Oh."
You seem very chill. Like, that's so good. You're like, "Okay, my water broke. Let's go to the
Yeah.
hospital." Like,
I was like, "Let's just go," and I saw some videos where it's like, for singletons, if your water does break, take your time, go get some food, don't rush. If you're not hurting, don't rush it. So, I was like, "Should we get Chick-fil-A?" He was like, "No, we're going straight to the hospital."
but you should eat though, because once you get there, you don't know when you're gonna be able to eat. That would be
I
me. Should we get some
Yeah, yeah.
Chick-fil-A?
He was like, "Oh my gosh." So, we got to the hospital, and it took us a while to get seen, but I ended up in labor and delivery, and they did the ultrasound, and for sure, baby A broke out of his sac, but baby B was still in his sac, and they both had enough fluid, so I had to stay on bed rest in the hospital for a month to let them bake a little more.
And you stayed in the hospital.
I stayed in that bed, I couldn't leave.
Oh my gosh, that's so intense. So how does this work? Because I feel like we've maybe talked about this on the podcast before. I always thought that once your water broke, it's like a ticking time bomb where like you have to give birth within 24 hours because of infection. And that's not the case. Like they were just monitoring you for infection and they wanted them just to like cook longer.
I believe that you're right, but that's more for singletons. So, if their true water broke, the baby doesn't have enough fluid around them or isn't getting nutrients, then you have to give birth, I think, in 24 hours. So I think because there's 2 babies, they have enough fluid, and baby B is still in his sac, I was fine to just stay in my little VIP room. It was the biggest room on the floor. I I made the most out of it. The nurses were my best friends. I got people visiting. I had to ask the doctor for wheelchair access to go outside. And I was like, "I need fresh air."
Yes,
I was like,
yes.
I'm not staying." I and I could walk, but they told me not to walk, so I still got up and walked a little bit. I was like, "I'm gonna go crazy." And I did a lot of reading, I did the podcast, I even recorded, like, 2 episodes in the room,
That's so
and
cool.
yeah, but I listened back and I'm like, "Oh, that mom and pregnancy brain is so." I don't know about you, Jess, but I could not speak. I was working up until that moment that I ended up in the hospital, and I was on calls all day with clients around the world selling cybersecurity and speaking, and I remember just losing my train of thought out of nowhere.
It still happens to me all the time, and I'm 3 years
Oh my
postpartum.
gosh. Did this happen with your singleton baby?
Oh, yeah. I think it was I'm like, I don't know if it was worse because I had a kid first, but I feel like with
Yeah.
every pregnancy, I'm like, your brain just changes so much and you have a lot going on, and it's so hard to focus and have yeah, uh, like right now, to have, like, articulate conversations. Like, it's hard, especially while you're pregnant, and then I think that, like, postpartum brain fog just continues? Okay, I have a couple of questions about living in the hospital
Okay.
for this long. Okay, so I guess the crazy thing about your case is your water broke, but labor didn't start. You never had contractions?
So,
Or
I
did
think
they
at 27 weeks, I went for the stress test, and they saw a few contractions, but I didn't feel them at all. And when I arrived, they did another stress test. I did a stress test twice a day. Every single day I was in the hospital. I had contractions, but I didn't feel a thing. They were probably really light, and I was dilated 2 centimeters. They wanted to check me and see, but the more they checked you could dilate you more.
Mhm.
S So and also high risk for infection, and I remember getting an IV of magnesium, and that was horrible.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever had magnesium in you?
I don't think so. Not like
Um,
IV, no.
so weird, makes you feel super groggy, and I think that they were doing this to stop and slow contractions,
Got it. Okay.
but I didn't feel them until they gave me magnesium. It started kicking in, and I was contracting, which is so crazy actually to think back because I haven't spoke about this since it happened. And just reflecting on that day, I was so in pain. I have videos and I'm just like talking to the camera and I couldn't speak because I was contracting so hard.
Hmm.
And that was the first night there. And I had magnesium, I had liquids going in me just to keep me hydrated. I couldn't get up and go to the bathroom. So I had to use their chair toilet thing. I don't
Mm.
even know the term. And they were like, "You can't walk to the bathroom, or do you want a catheter?" I was like, "Nope, do not
Oh
put a
gosh.
catheter." I was like, "I don't want one." So I peed on myself probably 10 times because the nurse didn't wanna come in. Well, she was kind of busy, and my husband fell asleep, and I was trying to get his attention. I was like, "I need to get up and pee." And so I didn't wanna bother the nurse, so I was, like, pushing the button. But the first night was chaos, and I was like, how long am I gonna be here? Obviously, you
Mm.
don't know. You just don't know. They told me, "This is your home now. You're not leaving until you give birth." And obviously, some days after that, because postpartum, and then we had the NICU, so I was like, "I'm never leaving. This is, like, my home." So, just to hear those words was so terrifying, but I honestly look back, Jess, and it is the most rest that I have ever received in my life.
Mm. You're, like, forced to.
Yeah, and so I look at that moment as God telling me to slow down and rest because my whole life I've been on the go. I've been working even through the pregnancy, I've been pushing it. So, yeah, I was forced to stay in the hospital, and I made it a routine, and I'll have to show you pictures. You can even post some over the video. I had a Christmas tree because it was Christmas time,
Oh, I
and
love
then it
that.
and then it was Thanksgiving, so we had, I just spent, like, all holidays in there. It was really my room. I had fairy lights all around, like, all the nurses were so obsessed with my room. I had my own little portable coffee maker because I was like, "I need my coffee. I'm not drinking hospital coffee." And my husband made dinner every single day and brought it. He brought the pets to me. It was so homey in there that I look back and I mean, it was traumatic. It was super hard and, like, I had nightmares about all the beeping and all the noises,
Mm,
and it is
mhm,
very traumatic, but I look at it as, like, if I didn't have that rest, the babies would have had more NICU time and would have been
mm.
born way earlier. So I just rested and rested and made the most out of it. It was very weird because in that hospital, I was in a floor called antepartum, which means before or after. Post is no, it's before partum. So this floor was mainly for women that had any bleeding and they just need to be fixed up and watched and give medications or high blood pressure or preeclampsia. So I was the longest staying person in there. And I mean, I
Mm.
saw moms come in and out because I would go heat up my food and I would, wave at the moms. I'm like, I don't have anyone to talk to.
That's
And
hard.
yeah, the nurses were like, Steph, you gotta go back to your room. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, how's the mom next door? Because I heard her throwing up at night. Is she okay? And I just can't go in there. I'm glad that most of them had family. My husband spent tonight every now and then, but I really wanted him home with the pets because I was like, those are our babies. And we lived like 10 minutes away from the hospital, so it wasn't too far. But for the most part, I felt very lonely. And I had so many conversations online with friends, with the nurses, with the moms that I met, and just seeing them coming and going, I was, like, so ready to get out, but I was gonna mention one thing that I did prep for because I didn't know how I was gonna give birth, honestly. The boys were head down for a long time. They were head down at 25, 24 weeks and never moved. They've always been head down, so the doctor was guessing that it would be vaginal. And it was at the end, but some things that I prepped for was actually listening to podcasts of how to give birth and about how to breathe during your birth, how to prep your body because any type any way that you do give birth, you just have to learn to just breathe and
Mhm.
like calm yourself down because I was prepping for like the most chaotic birth.
What were some of your favorite podcasts that you listened to?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't remember the names. I mean, I can look it up, but, I
That's
think
okay,
it's
I was just curious.
yeah, I'll have to share it with you, but there is a podcast that is breath work, and it teaches you during a contraction. When do you breathe? How do you count? How do you hold your breath? When to do it? How to not exhaust yourself when you're pushing or even laying there doing a C-section because you can fall asleep. So, all these different things that I learned, and I did a lot of meditating by just holding ice and
Mm,
counting. So that's
mhm.
another exercise on the podcast. And I took cold showers every single day because I was, like, seriously, like, prepping my body, and I was running really hot, so that also helped.
That's huge though. I remember in my birth with my daughter. So, I have a blood clotting disorder and I was initially told like we don't know if you can get the epidural. Like, it really depends on your platelet count. So if your platelet count is too low, then we can't give you the epidural. So I didn't want to like I definitely wanted to have my daughter vaginally, but I wasn't trying to like have her without the epidural. So I remember like looking into like breath work and hypnobabies and all these things to try to prep
Yeah.
myself. And I remember like just everything happened kind of fast and furious overnight because I was induced as a first time mom. They weren't really expecting me to progress that quickly. And I was having the hardest time breathing through the contractions. I was not doing it correctly. and instead of breathing through it, I was, like, tensing up and holding my breath, and the nurse was like, "We're not gonna get through it if this is how you're gonna do it. So you either need to, like, work on your breaths and try to relax through each contraction instead of tensing up, or, like, you need to decide to get the epidural." Um,
Wow.
so
So
I
you
I
were
wish that
doing
I
that and you didn't have epidural.
Right, that was before the epidural, but I wish that I would have done a little bit more, like, practice with that because I feel like
Mhm.
I listened to a podcast and was like, "Okay, I'm good," and I didn't do, like, a good job of, like, actually practicing while I was calm and not in labor because it didn't
Yeah.
come naturally to for me to breathe through it and to not tense
Mhm.
up when I was in a lot of pain. So, I did opt for the epidural. I tried it, it was really hard, so I think that's really good advice of, like, all the things you were doing, like meditating with ice and, like, doing all of these things like, leading up to it, as opposed to just, I don't know, what I did.
Yeah. I mean, I was also really bored, and I don't think, like, if I was home, I would do that. I was just so bored, and I was like, "I guess I should prep for this, like, I guess I should get ready." But I think it's advice that I have, but I would say if you're just that mom that's like, whatever, and you don't wanna prep for it, like, that's fine too, just know that however you give birth is okay, and, like, if you have a hard time breathing like you did and you just don't know because you can do all the stuff, and then you get there, and it's like, "Oh my goodness, major shock. This is, like, not what I imagined," and like you said, your body's not calm, you're super tense, and I remember during that time it was a huge birthday party, by the way. My birth story, like, I had such a traumatic before birth and then after birth in the NICU, but I'd say that our NICU was also not traumatic, so my birth was like I always shine light on, like, there can be positive births, and
Mm,
it's okay to not be scared, but it's also okay to be scared because if you're a first-time mom and do you imagine, like, giving birth? Obviously, it's scary, you just never know what could happen. And I just had the best nurses, and I got to pick my nurses because I was there all month, and they were like, "Steph, you can pick your nurses if they're not working, like, which ones do you want to come and work?" And it was, like, the coolest thing because when I tell you these girls were, like, my cheerleaders, my
mm,
like, everything, and they were just so sweet, and I had just to, like, give you the big picture, when I was there during the whole month, I had nurses from postpartum, from labor and delivery, from the NICU, from all floors. So they were all different types of nurses, so I was gonna see them postpartum anyway, without really realizing it.
mhm.
And so I got to ask a lot about the NICU and everything. So I was induced exactly 34 weeks. It was the morning of. I had to get induced. They didn't give me an option.
Okay, I was gonna
Mhm.
say, how was that decision made? They were just like, "It's time, it's been like, they've got to cook long enough, and now we're gonna get them out."
Yep, the doctor said, "Okay, their sac broke at 29 weeks by 33 or 34." And I said, "Can we please do 34? I do
Mhm,
not wanna have that much NICU time." I mean, you never know, but, like, you know how they make it sound, it's like, you just never know. And so yeah, they just said, "You have to get induced." And I was like, "Why do I have to get induced?" Like, I was so confused because my water already broke. I'm already contracting. What does inducing do to me? So I got induced in the morning with Pitocin, and I went maybe 10 hours without epidural, and I regret it because
mm,
I was in pain, and I don't really regret it because it's like I look back and I listen. My husband recorded all of it because I was like, "If I do anything, just record." And I didn't want any part of him on me. I didn't want him to comfort me, and it was, like, it was so crazy to watch back, and it's, like, it's really scary. When you're contracting, you're the amount of pains that you just
mhm,
have are insane, and you know. So, I opted for the epidural pretty late, but I remember I got the epidural, and obviously I felt 10,000 times better. I finally got to rest, and I laid down, I took a nap for maybe 2 hours. I woke up, they checked me, and it was time, and it was just time. They were like, "Yeah, you're 10 centimeters, girl." I was like, "Alright, let's go, let's have this birthday party."
aw,
So It was so cool, and similar to you, all the people were in our OR room. I mean, you have the NICU team, you have your labor and delivery nurses. I had double. I had way more because they knew me from that time, and they were like, "We just wanna be in here. We're
Mm,
just gonna help. We're just gonna be here." And I also had a nursing student in the room, and they asked me, "Are you okay with her being in here?" I was like, "Yeah." She was maybe 22, 23. She was very young, and she asked me, "Is it okay?" Because she's never seen a birth. Obviously, she's going to school to be a labor and delivery nurse. She's never seen a birth, so this was her first time seeing birth, a twin birth. Like, how cool?
mhm,
And she was so sweet that she recorded everything. She took so many pictures of everything.
mm,
I didn't obviously, you're in that moment, you're not really paying attention to all these people, and there's just so many people, and everyone's talking, and I was mainly listening to my husband and the doctor, and I didn't realize that she was next to me the whole time, like, recording and taking pictures, and I mean, the rawest moments of my life. It was so sweet that she was there, and just to be able to capture that and have those memories, like, mean the world to me, and it was just so special. So the boys were born, baby A came. I think I pushed for maybe 30 minutes, and then baby A came out, and then they realized that my bladder wasn't emptied, so then they emptied that, and baby B just slid out 10 minutes after, like, just slid out. I barely had to push, but also they were very tiny. I think that's a blessing in disguise. It's that they were so tiny that I was so privileged to just be able to just have this easy birth. And when I tell you, Jess, I was in there for a month just praying for them to get out. I was so
mm.
uncomfortable, and now I miss them being in me. So you just miss the little movements all the time, and so they came out, they were super healthy, both did amazing, I was fine. Baby A was the one that broke the sack, so he was below baby B. Baby B was, like, up on my ribs, and baby B was down on my bladder. So me and my husband think that baby B popped baby A's sack because I'm sure you have a more wild twin. Baby
Mhm.
B is, like, I don't know, he's crazy,
Same,
he's a care
same
baby
girl.
B too? Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's
So,
wild.
yeah, he's pretty wild, and we're like, yeah, he was the one kicking all the time, and we couldn't ever find him on the stress test because he was moving so much. So we're like, "Alright, you're that's you." So they got on the warmers on for the NICU team, and good news, they were like, "They're breathing fine, they don't need anything, we're gonna leave," and the NICU team was like, "We're gonna leave, you can have time with them," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing," and then I don't even know how much time we had, it wasn't that long, it just felt so fast, we had to get out of there, and they wheeled me to the postpartum room, and the saddest thing was, like, them just taking the babies to the NICU. Um, I Now that I look back, I'm like, "Why'd they take them?" But I think just it's a routine when you're born early. So there wasn't anything clearly going on with them medically, but so they went upstairs to the NICU and I was in postpartum and they were like, "Are you ready to go see your babies? Like, do you wanna try and get up and walk and all this stuff?" And I'm over here and like, "Okay, yeah, I can get up." I get up and I pass out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I got a little too excited and I lost a lot of blood and I and my husband and I talk about it, we're like, "Why did they ask you to get up and go to the bathroom? Why couldn't I just get wheeled over?" So,
Mm.
I don't know. I think they were just trying to see how I felt, but so I ended up getting wheeled over that night. It was, like, maybe 4 AM when I finally got to meet them, and we gave birth at 11 PM. So, went to the NICU, and then that's where our NICU journey started. The boys had just different things going on here and there, but the main thing is that they just didn't know how to eat.
Mm.
And all the nurses will say, like, it's a boy thing, and I hate when people say that, but you realize it's true, and they were there were twin girls born. I don't know, 20 something weeks early, and they left the NICU super fast because they learned how to eat really fast, and they were like, "It's a boy thing, like, boys just take forever to learn." But it just felt horrible because I was pumping so much milk and couldn't breastfeed too much and having trouble with latching because I'm having mastitis and all these issues, and I'm going to
Mm.
lactation, and they're coming to the room with the boys crying and telling me how to breastfeed, and it was, like, such a big shock postpartum as a new mom. I I mean, I understand the benefits of breast milk and breastfeeding, but to get thrown that as the only option of how to feed was, like, crazy. I mean, already being in the NICU and seeing all that, and the saddest thing about the NICU is that in my case, is that our boys were probably and maybe were the most healthiest there for a long time from all the other babies, and they were at the end of the hallway. They got the biggest room too. And just passing all the babies hurt so bad. I mean, every single morning, every single night we went, it was just so hard because you have an incubator and some babies are covered. You can't see them at all. Or there's a blue light for some medical reasons that they have, or they're having surgery and you just pass all the babies and they've been there w- months,
Mm.
months on end. And it it's also really sad because you rarely see the parents. And you rarely see the parents because they have to work, financial reasons, etc. And I also learned someone told me, I think the nurses said, like, most NICU babies are actually from drug addicts or
Mm.
parents that aren't the healthiest. So it was and maybe that was just the NICU that we had in Indiana, but the NICU was weird. I mean, it was very weird. We had nurses that would tell me that I can't change my baby's diaper. We had like, weird cases and I'm in a NICU twin mom support group on Facebook, and there's a lot of nurses that do this to a lot of twin moms, and they like to keep the twins on a schedule, and they wanna do everything around the clock, and they wanna change the diaper when they do this, and, like and as a big advocate and my husband is also in the medical field, he used to be a ICU trauma nurse, and we were like, "No, you're not gonna tell us what to do." And I think there's so many parents at the NICU now that don't even know that you can turn off the beeping. You can
Mm.
ask to turn off the noises, you can ask to do this, you can literally like, that's don't forget that that's your baby because you get so caught up in the nurses coming in and the doctors coming in, and they're doing everything, and they're telling you these things. But as long as you're there, you can do everything on your own. And I think most we had a really great primary nurse later on in our journey there, like, towards the end, and she's amazing. We still talk till this day, and she loves seeing the boys. But there's so many parents that don't realize, "Oh, we can actually do bottle and breast. We can take a break. We can do this. You can change their diapers. You can unhook the cords if you're comfortable." The nurses were super flexible with us after they learned that we were comfortable, but a lot of parents just assume that they can't do it, and that turns into a scary NICU journey if you, like, can't do it for your child or be there. I think it's eye-opening too, just to be able to learn everything in the NICU. We learned so much about latching, about doing things and keeping them on the same schedule, but I honestly hated the NICU. Like, I look back at the photos and I'm like, "I hate that place so much," and I
Mm.
don't ever wanna have a baby in there or see a baby or have any I never wish that on anyone. And I know that the NICU can help in various ways, but I think that it was so traumatizing after, and I don't think anyone talks about this, or I've really never heard a lot of people bring it up until I read about it on Facebook, but bringing your NICU baby home, oh my gosh, it is a complete nightmare because and it's different from when people bring their babies home from the postpartum room, you still have to adjust, but the NICU, they are so used to these things. We had to turn on NICU noises on the YouTube
Oh my gosh, because they were so used to that noise.
to get them to stop screaming, basically. And I'm questioning, am I a good mom? How do I do this? I like, I was exclusively pumping for a while, and I was so given up on breastfeeding. So when we got home, I was like, "How do I do their feeding schedule?" Because they were doing bottle and sometimes breast in the NICU if I wanted to try, but I was like, "I'm not gonna beat myself up and keep trying if I can't."
Mhm.
And I was like, "How am I gonna do my schedule? How am I gonna" I'm not a very scheduled person, so just them telling you everything before you leave the NICU, "Please keep them on this schedule, please." I ripped it apart. I was like, this we're not at the NICU. We are home. You're gonna adjust to our schedule. You guys are 2 different babies, and I'm not keeping you on the exact same schedule. If one doesn't wanna eat, like, we were running into, like, okay, one doesn't baby A doesn't wanna eat, baby B wants to sleep. It's like, why do I need to wake him up? Especially if their weight was fine. If their weight wasn't fine and they weren't gaining the right weight and all these other medical things, and, like, yeah, it'd probably be easier to keep them on the same schedule. But I didn't give up on breastfeeding, and I actually kept tandem feeding them for about 6 to 7 months with alternating formula, and then I was like, "Alright, I'm done. I want my life back." And I was, like, so tired, and during my postpartum, I think what were they? 2 months, so we were just home from the hospital, and I
I was wondering that. So, how long did you guys end up staying in the NICU?
a whole month. The day after Christmas, we came home.
Okay. Oh, that's special. The day after
It
Christmas.
was special, it was very special, but just I feel like I was just there for 4 months, like 3 months because I was there a month before, and then,
Mhm.
yeah, like, during postpartum room, I was, like, never in that room. I was always in the NICU, and I couldn't understand, well, I kind of can, because I was a patient, but I was like, "Why can't I go sleep upstairs?" Like,
Mm.
nothing's I'm just taking pain meds to deal with the pain down there. That's all that they were doing in the postpartum. I didn't have a baby with me. Usually they help you with the baby. So, yeah, we were in there for a whole month, and then they had 1 month. They turned 1 month in the hospital, and then we came home, and the day after Christmas, super special, and as soon as we came home and I told you the adjustment was so hard, I remember just being overstimulated, for one, because what a lot of people don't know about the NICU is, like, your babies never really cry in there. They are, like, swaddled up, their beds are warmed, they
Mm.
are sometimes on their tummy, sometimes on their side, because it's monitored, so they can sleep however they want, and they're wrapped like little burritos, so they can't, like, move, and obviously, they don't want them to move because they have things hooked up to them, like checking their blood pressure, their oxygen, and all these things, and but we were so privileged because when we got to the NICU, we unplugged all of it and would just hold them, and the nurses were fine with it, so, like I tell you, it's completely different for everyone, but as soon as we got home, obviously, we had to swaddle them ourselves, which I hate. I don't know if you swaddled your boys.
We use the Ollie wrap. Have you heard of the Ollie swaddle?
I think so.
We loved it. It's just like
Is it when
Velcro.
your arms are down?
Mhm. Yep, so you put their
Yep.
arms down, and then it's like this stretchy material, and
Oh,
then it has
nice.
Velcro, and then the
Yeah.
bottom, like, ties. So we tried
Oh,
a million swaddles with my daughter.
yeah.
We tried just, like,
Same.
the old-fashioned swaddle ourselves, and she broke out of it
Yep.
every single time. And then the
Mhm.
Ollie has been, like, tried and true.
Oh, that's sweet. I didn't buy that one for the boys. We bought one similar, but you know what? The Velcro was so loud in the middle of the
It
night,
is. You're
I
right.
got so
Mhm.
annoyed.
It is really loud.
I think just overall, getting hit with just doing everything and dealing with them screaming at the top of their lungs overstimulated me, and I had a fever of about 104, and out of
From
nowhere, I
mastitis?
no, I don't so I thought I was having a panic attack because I thought I was just exhausted. I wasn't getting any sleep. I was so tired. I mean, my husband and I were it was just us, like, no one came over to help postpartum, no one was there for us, we didn't have anything cooked, we were cooking, we were, like, doing
Mm,
everything,
I'm so
and
sorry.
I know, but it's okay. So we look back and, yeah, we were so tired, I was pumping at the same time and feeding them and, like, trying to figure out things, trying to breastfeed still, and I think it just ate me up, and I almost ended up in the ER that night, and my husband, with a medical background, was like, "We have to call 911," and it was the boys' feeding time during this, so I was, like, freaking out, I was like, "I need to breastfeed, I have to feed them, I have to feed
Mm,
them." He was like, "No, like, we have formula too," because the NICU sends you home with formula, and he's like, "It's okay, like, they'll be fine, I'll make the bottles." And I was like, "We can't call 911, we're not paying that ambulance bill, and no one can take me." So I call my parents to come
mm,
over, so they came over, they live about 40 minutes away, so that took a while. Yeah, so I ended up going, and what did I have? I had a bladder infection,
mm, mm,
and I was like, "What? How like, what?" And before birth or before pregnancy, I guess I forgot to mention too, I had I also thought I couldn't have kids because I had pap smears that came abnormal. And so I had 2 colposcopies done. It's where they scrape the inside of your walls inside your
okay.
vagina. And, oh my gosh, it hurts more than giving birth. They literally scrape you and, like, send it to the labs, and I had 2 times it came back cancerous, but then they do, like, an after test after that, and it came back with nothing. But I literally had a OBGYN doctor, and he was like, "You're not gonna have kids if you don't have them now." And I
Oh
was like,
my
"What?"
gosh. That's so terrifying to hear.
It's so scary, and he was like, "You better think about having them soon." And I never said anything to this man that I wanted we switched doctors because he was very weird, but he just kept saying that and saying that, so it was instilled in my head that I was, like, not gonna have kids. So I was scared during this time, I was like, "Is something going on with my body? Like, what's going on?" So I went to the ER and the doctor, bless his heart, he was so sweet. He was like, "I gotta get you home to your twins. You're okay, you just have a bladder infection." And I was like, "Can I just stay the night here?"
Oh,
And, you kinda just miss the hospital when you've been in it and you've slept so good in it.
like you got comfortable.
Yeah. Mhm. And I wasn't getting any rest when they were in the NICU. I think a lot of other non-NICU parents think like, "Oh, you get to sleep so much because your baby's in the NICU, they're being taken care of." We spent the night so much, and I'm up pumping, I'm watching them on the Angel Eye cameras that they have. Thank goodness they had the cameras or else I would go crazy. I would call at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, "Baby B's head is covered with a swaddle." And they're not so worried about that as you would be at home because they're monitoring the babies.
Mhm.
And I was just like, "Do they not care? Why is his face covered?" And it
Oh,
it and it would look really scary when they would just stare at the camera. But it was, like, cute. They're like little glow in the dark aliens, cause all like, the little newborns, and they're just staring at the camera. So I'm like, "I can't sleep now."
that's really cool though. So they have these monitors that you can watch like while you're at home so that you can see your babies in the NICU.
Yeah,
That's really
it's so
special.
sweet. It's a app called Angel Eye, and it's really sad because you hear a lot of NICUs that don't have them, and that's, like that's even more terrifying is just not being able to see them and unless you're actually there, and that's really hard too, but yeah, so I ended up in the hospital, and then after that, I my husband was like, "I don't want you, like, near them at all. I just want you to rest," because he knows that they get stimulated by my milk, and they wanted to breastfeed, and he knows the balance of having a bottle versus breast and not tiring me out by tandem feeding, and, like, I wasn't
Mm.
eating, I wasn't resting, and, like, that's not healthy either, so that was a journey. Postpartum was such a journey, and then when the boys turned 3 or 4 months, I decided to start with my friends a cybersecurity startup business. And I don't know why I just wanted to do it, and so I was working for a few months. I don't do it anymore, but I was the chief product officer of a cybersecurity startup, and we just, like I was on calls all day while taking care of them. I had my headphones on that were noise canceling, but I don't give that advice to anyone. Don't do that to yourself.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I look back and I'm like, "Alright." I thought I had it all good because they were napping and then, using the time, but I really needed to, like, fill my cup, like you say, like, take care of yourself, enjoy the times with your babies, and, like, any twin mom that asks me for advice, I'm like, "Just slow down, just
Mm.
soak it all in," and it's easier said than done because in that moment, you just, like, hate life, and you're, like, in survival mode, and you don't know how else you're gonna survive and take care of 2, and it really got hard because my husband went back to work, and he worked nights as a nurse, and I remember doing those bedtime and bath all by myself and just being in the thick of it and just crying, like, every single day and just feeling, like, super lonely, and then now that they'll be 2 in November, which is, like, crazy, like you say, your boys are gonna be 3. It's
I
like,
can't
wow,
believe
like
it.
yeah, and you look at these little angels, and they're growing and learning and speaking and all these thriving things because of your parent, like you guys, and it's so fulfilling to know that every day we do fill our cup by raising our kids, and I look back and think about our journey and I reflect, and I will always say that time in the hospital was such a break that I needed, and now it's like I've never really had a break till then, but now I know how to balance things. Now I feel like I've got the hang of it, and they're walking now, so obviously I don't have to carry them up and down the stairs anymore. Sometimes I still do just because I miss it, and sometimes they'll cuddle me if they're sick, and they only say mama in, like, a whiny voice. I don't know why. They don't say it in a happy way.
'Cause you're their comfort, like,
Yeah.
"Mama."
I know. They're like, "Mama." I'm like, "Okay," and then Dada's all happy.
So, where do you think that shift came? Like, you were talking about how, like, postpartum was so overwhelming and that was all a lot. Bringing them home from the NICU. I've heard other NICU moms say that it's just, like, a lot to bring home these babies that were in the NICU for a long time. And then now you have this good balance, and what do you think was that shift that helped you to become more balanced?
I think the shift definitely happened when I stopped breastfeeding and I stopped pumping, and people that are I don't know how to say this. People assume that it's just so easy, and I just had a talk with this to a friend here that I met. She just found out she's 6 weeks pregnant too. And she's like, "Oh, I just wanna breastfeed and, like, all these things." And I was like, "Well, there's layers to it. You can't you just have to understand how these things work." And I was like, "Not everyone produces the same milk glands as you, like, you just never know how your supply is and things." Because that can hurt a lot of people postpartum if they're really keen on feeding your baby a certain way. But I think it hit me when I stopped and I just got my life back and I got time to myself. I started doing my Pilates. I started feeling fine about just giving them milk and giving them food, and they were eating solids, and pouring more into that cup and teaching them how to eat had me more fulfilled instead of forcing myself to keep up with the supply when it was just so hard, and, like, I love when I hear there's twin moms that produce so much and have done a tremendous amount for their childs, and I'm like, "Wow, that's, like, amazing," but I think that as a society that preaches breast is best is so hard on moms that can't, and I even have, like, a best friend who's just so exhausted of pumping and all these things, and it's mentally taxing because for as long as you're breastfeeding or any stimulation to your breasts, you're still in that postpartum mindset. You're still going to have some type of postpartum anxiety, depression. It's going to stimulate you as well as the baby. And I remember just stopping and the boys the boys left our room about 5 to 6 months. They started sleeping in their own room, which was, like, right next to our room, and I guess when they slept throughout the night, things got easier, but then now I'm over here like, "What is this sleep regression? What is this teething? What is going on?" It's like we were fine, and now it's like we're backtracking. And I guess it's easier than a newborn feeding and crying and all these things. But Jess, now I have to deal with baby B or baby A waking up and saying, "Wow, moo," and "quack."
That's so
And
cute, though.
I'm like, "Do other moms go through this?" Because when I speak to the friends that I have, they tell me that they can't relate and, like, their babies never had sleep regression or night terrors. And I'm like, "Is this a twin thing?" So then I ask the twin mom page on Facebook, the support group, and they're like, "Yeah, like, this has happened. These are the things that we've done." Like, I talk to ChatGPT all the time about their schedules, and they've dropped down to 1 nap, but it's like when we have those nights, like you said, it's so cute when they're up talking and they're saying all these things. My friends are like, "Steph, you're just doing a really good job."
Aw.
And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." And I'm like, "Alright, I'll take that." But it's really hard when they just won't go back to bed and it's 1 AM and I'm exhausted and my husband's schedule is, like, extremely busy. So but I will take the cuddles over the newborn stage again, even though I really do miss it. I miss when they were tiny.
No, I feel the same way. I feel like it's very normal when you are learning a new skill and your brain is excited for you to want to practice those skills. So, me saying that it's cute, I know it's not cute when you're being woken up at 1 in the morning, but it is cute that they're like learning the skill and they're learning these new words and they want to practice it. So, your
Yeah.
friend is right. Like, you're doing a good job and they're developing their speech you know, and I just think every chapter that I've had and my twins they're almost 3, so it's not like, "Oh my gosh, I've been a twin mom for 2 decades." No, like, I'm still in the thick of
Yeah.
it too. Like, every season is hard in different ways, and I do agree, like, I not that I'm not a fan of the newborn stage, I hate to phrase it that way, but, like, that is
Mhm.
out of all the stages, that's not my favorite because, you're not sleeping, you're not getting a lot of positive feedback, where at least in the toddler phase, like, even when you're having tantrums and sleep regression, there is so much good that you're getting out of that relationship, where in the newborn phase, like, you're really just taking care of, like, a blob, you know? And yeah, the cuddles are fantastic, but I do like the toddler stage better. So I just hope that you get some sleep soon. I know it's hard. Like I was saying, my boys have been sick the past week and have not been sleeping well at all.
Mhm.
And so I feel that.
I know. I was gonna ask you, so have they had sleep regression and teething in the middle of the night? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, I mean, so for teething, we would just give them something depending on how bad it was. Like we might offer like Tylenol or Motrin, or we use these teething drops. Oh, I'd have to look up the name. It was like a
It's like a
homeopathic, like,
chamomile one?
yes,
Yes, we have
we
those.
use
Those
that.
don't do anything.
See, I felt like that helped with the fussiness. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean?
Mhm.
We're kind of, like, through the teething now. They're getting their back 4 molars, and they're almost all in, so we'll be done with teething, but, we still get these regressions when, like, right now, they're sick and they're waking up because they don't feel good and they want to
Yeah.
sleep by me and stuff, and
They get up and walk to your room?
well, I'll go in there and hold them, but there was one night that Waylon, like, slept with us because he was just, like, uncomfortable, you know? Um,
Yeah, he just needed you guys. How
yes, he
sweet.
just wanted some cuddles, but do your sons suffer from night terrors? You said like,
Yes.
you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So, my son Waylon was really suffering with night terrors, and it was so hard because we would go in there and he was still clearly sleeping and just like
Mhm.
thrashing in his sleep and crying. And I was talking to one of my friends about it, and her son had night terrors, and they started using a nighttime vitamin. This is like,
Oh,
so I recommend it. We started using it. It's Haya's nighttime vitamin. I think that's what it's called. I'm trying to remember, like, our bedtime essentials, and it's not melatonin, it's just, like, magnesium and, like, a few other things that help support a deep sleep, and he has not had a night terror since. He's woken up in the middle of the night since then, but he has not had a night terror.
okay,
So
I'm looking into it. The night terrors are so scary.
yeah,
I mean, he's, like, flailing, and I'm trying everything, and sometimes when you wake them up or when you
it
hold them and you
just
get
makes
up,
it
it wakes them up, and
yes.
it's like, I don't wanna just let him cry, and it's so hard, but yeah, I'm gonna look into it. I know that over time and one thing you also said the teething. They are extreme teethers. They have a full mouth of teeth, and it has gone extremely fast. I feel like a tooth pops out every morning, and it's going like, we had to take them to the dentist, Jess, because our pediatrician was like, "They have so much teeth." And I was like,
Well
"This is so scary." All
well,
the
if
teeth
anything,
just
like, not that this is, like, fun, but it's almost like you're, like, ripping the Band-Aid off and all of their
Yeah,
teeth are it sounds like they're coming in, like, earlier. So,
yeah.
I know this isn't, like, a fun season right now, but maybe
It's
they'll be
not.
done teething, like, before your friends' kids. And I do think that
Yeah,
all kids handle teething differently. Like, I've
very
had the
different.
same
Yep,
thing, right? Like, where the pain just feels more for some kids, where some kids handle it better. So it's like you're not doing anything wrong. And if your
yeah,
kid's teeth are coming in, 3, 4 at a time, I would imagine that that's way more painful than just,
so
like,
pain
one tooth coming in, you know?
yeah, mhm.
But also for night terrors. So my friend just did so much research and stuff on this. So I'll just like if you want to hear about it, I'm happy to tell
Yeah,
you like what else I did. So the hardest thing about a night terror is the times that we would try to wake him up, it made it worse. And
yep,
like the first time that my son had a night terror, we thought someone broke into our house. Like I've never heard him scream like that. And then we ran into his room and he was sleeping. And we were like, what is happening? So my
mhm,
immediate reaction is like, of course, you go and pick him up, and then it would honestly only make it worse. So what she recommended was doing that nighttime vitamin, and then going in there and not trying to, like, wake them up or pick them up because it can make the night terror worse, but instead letting him know subconsciously, because the night part of a night terror is that they are still sleeping, like, he's not
yeah,
awake while this is happening, that you can go in there and, like, shh him or sing him a song that he might know. So I don't know if this is, like, gonna come over the mic, but I'm, like, shushing, like, I would, "Shh, shh," and then I would
mhm,
rub his back. And I did that. I did it for 4 minutes, which felt like a really long time, and he fell asleep, and I could not believe it. Because for weeks
mhm.
before, he would, like, just scream all night
Yep,
long, and I would pick him up, and he would wake up, and I would try to comfort him, and it was awful. It was a really, really hard time, and, like, switching what I did and then doing the nighttime vitamin really helped. So, I'm sorry you're
okay,
going through that. Having night
yeah, I
terrors
will
is
definitely
so
take those
hard.
tips. The hardest thing too is when one wakes up the other, and I'm
Yes.
there shushing, and I've tried to shush, and then the other one hears me, and I'm like, "Were you not asleep? How do you hear me right now?" And
Yeah.
then they both want me. They have floor beds, they sleep in the same room, and I told my husband last night, I was like, "Do we separate them?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I could not. I don't wanna do that." Like, I can't even imagine maybe when they're older, but for this age, obviously, it's so easy just to go in there for both of them, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
try. I'll get the nighttime vitamin and do that.
I hope that helps, like, it's made a difference in our family, and I just know how awful having night terrors are, so
Yeah.
and, like, handling that, so I'm sorry that
Yeah,
you're dealing with it,
thank you.
and I hope that that helps.
Yeah, it will. I hope so. I will let you know, I'll keep you updated.
So, one big theme of the podcast of this episode and your story has been slowing down. And I just feel like that is such a good token for moms, especially twin moms, to take. Like, maybe this is your sign to like slow down a little bit. So you mentioned that earlier. And what other pieces of advice do you have? Or if you could have a heart to heart with a twin mom, what would you tell her?
If I had a heart to heart with a can I do an expecting twin mom
Of course,
and
absolutely.
also a twin mom? Because I feel like I've connected with so many expecting twin moms lately, and my biggest advice for expecting twin moms is to just let things be, and you can't have any crazy expectations about anything because things will just be, especially if you're going from 0 to 2. If you're going from 0 to 2, it might seem super scary and stressful, and if you've never had babies or even held a baby, it might seem really scary, but I promise you that the mother instincts will just kick in, and you are meant to be a twin mom, and there's so many women out there and moms that wish to have babies and multiple babies, and you have been chosen, so I hope that you hang in there and enjoy your pregnancy even though it's hard. So that's my advice for expecting twin moms, and for current twin moms, if I had to have a heart to heart, would be very similar, is that we were chosen to have multiples, and the strength that you have is incredible, and you know that those babies would not be here if it wasn't for you. So I think we need to give ourselves more grace and truly give ourselves a hug because there's seasons, just like Jess said, when your kids are sick, when they're going through a night terror, or any other season. Just know that every season is different, and you don't always have to be strong. You don't always have to be positive, but just know that it will pass and you'll get through it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so true. It's so good.
Yeah. Thank you, Jess. This was so fun.
Yes, it was so fun. I've had so much fun chatting. And I feel like every time I'm like, we could talk so much more. So we'll have to do like an episode 2 follow up soon.
Oh, I know. That'd be so fun. Whenever you want me on the podcast.
Ah, awesome. Thank you. This episode is brought to you by Thrive Market. Looking for healthy snacks delivered straight to your door? I got you. As a mom of 3 littles, I'm always trying to find ways to make my life easier. I've really been enjoying Thrive Market. They carry all of my favorite organic brands I don't feel guilty giving my kids. It's not just a market for food. I recently ordered a mineral sunscreen stick and fragrance-free bath bomb for my kids. Use my link in the show notes to get $20 off your first 3 orders and a free gift. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy twin mom life to listen along. I hope this podcast shed some light on the topic that's been on your heart and gave you more confidence as a twin mama. If you know a twin mom, please send this her way. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Check out the show notes to be connected with today's guest and get discount codes for brands I love. See you next Thursday. Until then, you were made for this.